Hello, everybody. This is a new show I'm providing for anyone that wants to know anything related to real estate. I'm with my colleague over here, Martin Charney. He's a financial specialist. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about what's going on with the current market as a full-time realtor. Okay. First topic that I would like to discuss with this pandemic, basically with this COVID-19. People always ask me, how is the current real estate market? Let's talk about facts because I'm all about facts. And, people are saying the market's down. It's actually the market is down in terms of transaction market. As you can see here, April 2019, it was 9,005. And for April 2020, it's 2,975. Now, consumers always ask me, is it a good time to sell or is it a good time to buy? Now, from what I believe, from my understanding, I feel that it's actually up to the person. It's a personal goal. I hear some realtors saying it's the worst time to sell. However, the way I see it, it all depends on your goal and it also depends on your location. Now, the fact that the transaction's down by 67%, if you were to sell now, that means that there's less competition. Okay, so this is based on residential, 7% down. Okay. As you can see, even though it's 67% down in the market, in terms of transaction, the average selling price for a freehold home, which is not a condominium, it's up by 0.1%. Let's go to another question that other people are asking about. What is the process for a first-time home buyer in Ontario, Canada? So the process is basically working with a professional financer first, or a mortgage broker like Martin, getting the pre-approval, and then working with someone that, like myself, a licensed real estate agent who is a sales representative, who can help you, assist you in either selling your home or buying a home. So is it the best time to buy with the current lending rate right now, with the rate, with the banks?
I've been in the real estate market for 25, 30 years, and I've always told people that they will never calculate to sell in the trough and sell at the peak and buy in the trough. It's not possible. What's important for them is they need a bigger house for the family, or they need a smaller house, or there's been a death in the family, or they're being transferred. The best time is when the family needs to sell, because normally they're buying and selling anyway. Right now, we're in a fortunate position that interest rates have really never been lower. The benchmark stress test rate came down again. So, I mean, it was 5.19 and then it was 5.04 2 days ago. Now it's 4.94, which makes it easier for people to qualify on their income.
Okay, and another question I have, and thank you for answering that. What do I need to qualify for a first-time home buyer program?
They do need to have a permanent residence. They do need to have income that is acceptable. Now, I'll give you a simple formula. If somebody earns gross is before tax, annual is per year. So let's say they earn 100,000 annually. You take a factor of 4.5, multiplied by the combined annual gross income. That will give you the amount of mortgage that they can afford. So if people knew that alone, they would be very wise. Because then to the mortgage, all you add is the down payment, the amount of cash you have. Obviously, you've got to keep back closing costs. Closing costs can be 1.5%, let's say. But if you're a first-time home buyer, as you're asking, then there's a discount. How much discount depends on the area. It's not just a 10% discount. It depends on where you get to buy, and you have to ask the property lawyer that you're dealing with.
Your advice to them, if they don't have enough income, what can they do?
Well, there's a few things. Number one, they could get a guarantor or somebody really that will come on title. Somebody like a co-owner will share maybe the profit, maybe there are professional people out there that would be willing to be on title with them as a guarantor.
Let's talk about one of your products that we've been discussing. Let's say the person's not qualified at the moment. They have good jobs. They're new to the country, but they don't have enough down payment. So I know you're in the finance industry and you have different products. Let's talk about lease to own program. How does someone qualify for the lease to own program?
Well, the rent to own program is a very practical way to get into the market if there is some sort of inadequacy. Either the credit score is not there, or they don't have more than 4 or 5% down. They may not have permanent residence. And they may even be owners already of a property and they're getting divorced, or they're going underwater with high credit card debt.
Okay.
Any of those scenarios, the rent-to-own program can be of tremendous assistance. So it's ideal for a lot of people, but the only thing they really need on rent-to-own, our program is called Home-to-Own, H2O, is a decent income. As I say to people, I'm not a magician. If they come to me with low credit and a low down payment and a low income, I can't sprinkle my magic and help them.
Unless they get a co-signer or something.
Yeah, unless they get a co-signer, really somebody to come on title with them. But a lot of variables. It depends on their job tenure, depends on the location. If it's in a big metropolis area, as opposed to in somewhere far away, we have to get a mortgage for two people. The investor. Now the investor puts down 20% for and on behalf of the tenant buyer occupant. So he's not only is he putting down 20% deposit and he's paying the closing costs, but he's also signing personally for the mortgage of 80%. So he wants to be sure that the tenant buyer occupant is going to be able to close. Okay. And that is what I'm working very hard to keep the reputation of the rent-to-own program respectable.
Exactly.
Whenever there's a buyer out there that's challenged, he cannot get a mortgage immediately, we may be able to put him into our rent-to-own program. But first, before I do that, I would look at seeing if we can qualify him, get them pre-qualified or pre-approved for a mortgage, which I often am able to do because we have a lot of very innovative, creative financial techniques in how to get somebody a mortgage.
Okay, so
that's what I do.
Price of the mortgage, because they always ask afterwards, okay, the lease to own program. So what's the price range based on income?
We don't, rent to own does not go over 650,000 maximum. Why? Because the investors don't want to do it for more than that because they feel, let's say a price of $1 million will come down a lot more if prices ever go down than a little house for 600 or 500,000.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it's not a program designed to help $1 million purchaser get even wealthier. They have one choice. They've got to cut their cloth and come and buy something smaller and cheaper. And people are always asking me every day, Martin, where do you get a house for under $1 million? I mean, they're thinking of Toronto. Okay, Toronto is one of the world's leading cities, and it doesn't have cheaper, but there is cheaper in Hamilton and in Barrie and in Orangeville and in Durham and a million places. We can get houses and condos. We can get downtown Toronto for 500,000-600,000.
Yeah.
So rent to own is a beautiful way of getting into the market because they can sell during the term.
Okay.
And they split the profit with the investor 50-50, and they can also close sooner. So they're not locked in as such. But yeah, we've got to do protection for the investor,
of course,
because he's put his money where his mouth is, put down 20% plus closing costs. It gives us a small admin fee. So we do not charge the buyer or the tenant, buyer, occupant anything, and we don't charge the realtor anything. So the realtors love referring business to me because they get their normal full commission either way. Either I get them a mortgage and get them pre-qualified,
That's right.
or we get them the realtor represents our investor
Yeah.
and goes and negotiates with the listing agent.
So I know a lot of buyers would probably call you about the lease to own, and they probably would ask you the question, how does this benefit my current situation?
Benefits the buyer because they end up having the right, the privilege, the pleasure of choosing their own property once we've given them a figure of what are they qualified for.
Yeah.
And then they can move into their dream home, and they can add a swimming pool, a driveway. They can put a porch,
Yeah.
and a Porsche. So we have to laugh in this business because there's so many serious things, but there's also time and place for laughing at everything. So they feel that they are homeowners in training, and they are going to love this house and buy it and live in it for many years to come.
Okay.
And we take the same concept onto for a couple that, let's say, they're getting divorced. Now, he would normally want out, and she wants to stay on with the children in the house because they've got the kids and the friends and the schools and everything is set up there. So we bring an investor to buy the matrimonial property. He will take his matrimonial share and go, and she will stay on, and from the matrimonial share that she gets, she'll pay her expenses and put down a deposit, and we claw back part of it, and then she will end up buying her house back within the term, up to a 5-year, could be 3-year, 4-year term. So she ends up going back to work. She might have been a lawyer or a bookkeeper or whatever. She gets her credit built up, and then she buys her house back within the term. So it's another adaptation for rent to own. Another case is where the couple own the house and they're going underwater. They've got too much credit card debt, other debts. So they want to kill the cancer. They want to get rid of all that debt and stay on in their house because they love that house. They've put in a lot of money.
Okay.
So that's another adaptation for the rent-to-own concept. And people are really excited. They want to come and hug me through the phone when I share these ideas with them. And that's some of what we do.
That sounds terrific. Okay, thank you for answering all the questions. So what I'll do now as well, I'll share your link with the rest. Hopefully they can see it. So I'm going to share it right now. I'm going to share your website. Oh, this is your Alpha House website.
Yeah.
And they can apply here for, this is a regular mortgage, right?
Yeah, regular mortgage.
Okay, and that's the phone number is 416-798-7235, right?
Well, I prefer my cell phone, 416-524-5518, because sometimes when the office is closed,
of course,
it goes directly through. But my cell phone's the best.
So this is one of your website, and the other one, Money on the Tap, right here. And this is the rent to own program right here, right? So if
it's in there.
Yeah, so
right.
if anyone's watching this, whether on social media or YouTube, and you find this helpful, give us a call. Give Martin a call. The phone number is right here. And again, I'll just retype the cell phone again for Martin. His name is Martin Charney. He's been around the industry for such a long time. As for myself, my name is Aristotle. I'm a full-time real estate realtor with Century 21 People's Choice. I have my experiences over 17, almost 18 years in the real estate industry, and I am here helping out all types of buyer out there. So I appreciate it. Give me a call and I'll give you a free market evaluation or a free consultation. And Martin and I can do our best as specialists to help you out. Hopefully this would, hopefully our information can help you guys and give you some ideas, whoever's watching this, if you're thinking of selling during this pandemic or buying a home. Okay.